Okay, it looks like we're now live. Welcome to the first ever live bedtime history episode. I'm really excited to do this. It's the first time, so I'm going to be learning as I'm going, and that might mean there'll be mistakes and some hiccups, but I'm excited to be doing this, and we're going to roll with it today. So for anyone new to Bedtime History is a podcast that I do. And it's mostly history stories for kids, and they're usually relaxing stories, and they're true stories with a moral at the end, and they're usually relaxing, as they're great for kids as they're going to bed. And I've been around we've been doing it for about 2 years now, and we have a great following now, and it's just been an awesome experience doing bedtime history. And there's a lot of great fans who definitely keep me excited about it and creating more episodes all the time. And so if you're new to bedtime history and want to listen to it, you can look it up on your favorite podcast app or Apple Podcasts under bedtime history. And I try to release an episode every other week. And so it's great to have you here for our first live episode. You might be asking why we're doing it during the day, and because usually it's something that families listen to at night. Well, first of all, it's not the day for everyone. On the East Coast, it's around nighttime when kids are going to be going to bed. So hopefully they'll be able to catch it too. And if not, it'll be on a video link available later for them. But also I wanted to do this because it's a time when most families are home now and they're doing school from home. And I've seen other podcasters and people on YouTube doing this, but it's just I think with everyone being home and doing homeschool, a lot of families are now, I thought it would be a fun way to do a history lesson for kids at home as part of their school at home. And I know if you're like us, we're trying to figure this out too. I hope everyone out there is staying safe and doing all right. And trying to do school at home is definitely a new challenge for us. I feel like each day we have a new challenge, but I think we're getting a little better at it as we go, and we're just trying to take it a day at a time. But when I've seen other shows like this pop up, I know it's a helpful way to get kids learning, and I hope it'll be helpful for you guys too. And so one thing that's important is to know that as a learner, you're just learning at school, but you don't have to only learn. You can learn in other ways, not just at school. You can learn at home and on your own. And I know a lot of you who already listen to bedtime history, you do that on your own. And so that's like, I would call that a proactive learner. So rather than just having to be told what to learn and be told at school, you're learning on your own. And that's something we're discovering as we're learning at home, that it helps if our kids are more engaged on their own and are actively seeking learning. And I know that can be a challenge, but anyone who's here today, it's probably something you've sought out and you're being a proactive learner. So I hadn't announced what I was going to be doing the episode about, so I was going to be kind of a surprise. And so I decided to have my kids build something to introduce the topic. And so this is what they built. And the topic is going to be the history of Lego. And so my daughter built this Lego sign out of Legos. And it turned out a little different than I expected, but it basically says, it says Lego made out of Lego. And so this is how we're introducing the topic, which I'm really excited about. I've wanted to do an episode about Lego in the past, and I hadn't yet, and I thought it would just be a fun history lesson for everyone. And I'm going to be bringing on my friend Sam after we do the history lesson together, and he'll have some cool stuff to show off to the kids. So who out there has ever played with Lego? I'm sure everyone's familiar with Lego. I know I grew up playing with Legos. And lately my kids have been playing with Lego a lot. It's just one way they've been able to stay busy during the quarantine. And so we've had our big box of Legos out. A few years ago, I bought this huge tub of Legos from a friend of mine. And my kids love dumping that out and playing with it. And so I know we've had a lot of fun with Lego so far. Can anyone guess how many Lego bricks have been created ever? This number surprised me. You could throw the number out. anyone that's watching. Okay, so the answer is 400 billion. There have been 400 billion Legos created, which just blew my mind. Every year, there's 20 billion new Legos created. Every hour, there's 2 million new Legos created. And every second, there are 35,000 new Legos created in the Lego factories. And that was just mind-boggling to hear that number. And what's also crazy to think about is that we just take things like Lego for granted. We just assume, like that it was just supposed to happen, and so it happened. But if you think about it, I mean, imagine like life if there had been, for a lot of us, if we had never had Lego or never been able to play with Lego. Think of all the fun times we've had with it, or if you've ever been to the amusement parks. It's crazy to think like if Lego had never existed, because that could have easily happened. So if you think like that would just be crazy, right? And it could have happened if it wasn't for a man named Ole Kirk Christiansen. He was the founder of Lego. So we're going to talk about Ole and about his sons and about their story. So Ole was born a little over 100 years ago in Denmark in 1891. And I'm going to share a few pictures with you here. Get this set up. So this is his name here, Ole Kirk Christiansen. He was born in Denmark in 1891. Denmark, I'm going to show another picture here, is in Europe. I can bring it up in Google Maps. So you have Europe here. And if you zoom in, let's see, we're going to type in Denmark here and zoom in. It's right up here. We're going to zoom out a little. It's right above Germany in Europe. So this is the country of Denmark here. If you've ever been to Denmark, raise your hand. I haven't been there yet, but I would love to go there someday. So Ole was born in Denmark. And he was born to a big family. They had 10 kids and they were quite poor. So he had a pretty tough childhood growing up. And so, but when he was 14, he became an apprentice to his brother named Christian. And Christian was a carpenter. Does anyone know what a carpenter does? Carpenter builds things out of wood. And so an apprentice is someone who works with like a master carpenter, for example. And so Ole became an apprentice to his brother and started working with him, learning how to work with wood. And he was with his brother until 1911. And then he left his hometown in Denmark and he went and worked in Germany for a while. And then he came back to Denmark and worked for a while, and he kept saving and saving, and eventually came back to Billund, Denmark, where he had lived before, and built his own carpentry shop. So he was a carpenter there. And he built things like furniture and just a lot of practical things that people needed at that time, because to them there were certain things they needed and not so much like toys. So when he was, bring this view back here, he was married to a woman named Kirstine, and they had 4 sons named Johannes, Karl, Gottfried, and Gerhard. He had these 4 sons. And sadly, his wife passed away when she was giving birth to their 4th son. And so he had these 4 sons he had to provide for as a carpenter. And so he was always working really hard just to provide for his 4 sons. In 1924, the boys were playing in his carpentry shop, probably goofing around like boys tend to do. And they started a fire. It was an accident apparently, and it burned down his carpentry shop. And which was devastating, obviously, because he's just trying to get by, just trying to support his family. And So what did he do? He could have just said, I'm going to give up because, this is too tough to build this shop again. I'm going to do something else. But no, Ole didn't do that. He built a new shop and he started again. And that's what the type of person he was. So he kept building furniture and other things. One thing that he did is he would often build smaller models of furniture, for example, or something else he's going to build, like a ladder. And he'd build these small versions of them. And he found out that people really became interested in these smaller versions. And it was mostly kids. And they wanted to play with like a small ladder or a small couch or something, or chair. And so he started to build more toys out of wood. And let's show a picture here. This is a picture of Ole in his office, and this is a picture of his carpentry shop. And this is an example of the type of things he'd build. He'd build like wood trucks or wood planes, and because they were just popular and a lot of kids wanted them. One thing that was interesting about Ole is he always used the best materials. He used the best, it was birch wood that he used. And he always made sure he painted them really well, and he used lacquer to finish them, make them look really good. And he wanted his toys and his other furniture, everything else he worked on, to be the highest standard. And they had this sign even in their shop. It's a picture of him and his kids. Let's see if I can find the sign. And on the sign it said, "Only the best is good enough." And that was one of their mottos at his carpentry shop, is they always wanted to create high quality toys. And their toy shop grew and grew. So pretty soon they were just creating toys. And he started hiring more employees. And eventually, so there's a picture of Ole and his son, Gerhard, and then his grandson. And this shows their shop as it's starting to grow. I wanted to jump to this part though. They were trying to come up with a name, and a couple of the names they came up with were leg and goat. And together they took those two names, these two words, which are Danish and which mean play well. And then he smushed them together and they became Lego. So that's where you get the name Lego from, is these two words in his language that mean play and play well together. And so they're creating lots of toys, and his sons were helping out. They were involved in the business and helping him. And they got to a point where they found this machine. It was called a plastic injection molding machine, and you could use it to create anything out of plastic. And so they invested the money. It was really expensive, but they bought this machine and they started creating plastic toys instead of wooden toys. And it was around this time, sadly, that his shop burned down again. And Ole was very determined. He built the shop up again and they got to work. But this time they only started creating plastic toys in the Lego shop. And at this time, his son, Gottfried, was a designer and a managing director. His other son, Carl, was the director of plastic production. And one thing they started creating was these. First, these are a couple of their early logos. Billund, Denmark is where they were based out of. Some different Lego logos. This is his son, Gottfried, who was one of the main employees there. So there was another company called Kittycraft that started making these stacking bricks. And you can see they look a lot like Lego, but they were different in that they didn't snap together and you just kind of stacked them on each other. And if you tried to move them, they'd just fall apart. So Lego saw this and they started doing something similar. They had a similar stacking brick as Kittycraft, but they wanted to make something even better. They're always trying to improve their products. And so what they did is, one thing before this is in 1954, Gerhard, one of the sons, was talking to someone and they had this, and it gave him this idea to create this toy building system where toys weren't just something that where you just played like with a wooden truck. You could actually use these little pieces to then build something bigger. And it got him thinking more about these bricks. And so they spent 5 years researching how to create a better version of these bricks and looking for the right plastic and the right way to design them. And after 5 years, they finally perfected this perfect like snapping brick. And so I'm sure everyone's familiar with the bricks, but if you notice, they just snap together really well and they hold together very tight. And this is the product of Gerhard and his brothers and their father all working together to create this amazing Lego that snaps together really well, but then also can be pulled apart easily. And they used ABS polymer as the plastic. This was in January of 1958. And this is a picture of the early stacking bricks. And then the bricks that we're familiar with today. And then the same year that they came up with the new perfect brick, Ole passed away and his son Gerhard became the president of the company. And I think what's interesting is we look at the Lego brick and we forget that there was a lot that took place before this little thing could be created that we kind of take for granted now. It's fun to just think about how it started, right? To think that it started off with this carpenter, right, who was just doing furniture and practical items, and then he started creating toys out of wood and plastic toys, and then eventually the snapping brick. And that's how a lot of things in life are. And as you study history, you find out things change and evolve over time, little by little, to become what they are. I think if you took any invention or any product in your life, you'd realize that. And that's applicable to people too, right? We don't become who we are in one fell swoop. We change over time. And that's how also we grow and become better at things, is step by step, right? So by this time, so Lego's selling their bricks. Now they're creating sets using these snapping bricks. And then they came up in 1969, they came out with Duplo, which are the larger Legos many of you played with. We have lots of those, I know. And then in 1978, they came out with the first minifigure. This is one of my favorite ones. This one makes me laugh. This banana suit Lego minifigure. And then Sam in a few minutes is going to show you more minifigures because he has quite a few of those. So today, Lego are made in factories in Billund, Denmark. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we have Abraham Lincoln Lego, one of my favorites, appropriate to bedtime history. So Lego are made in these factories in Billund, Denmark, and other places in the world. And now beyond just the sets, they have movies, they have a theme park. And a few years ago, Lego replaced Ferrari as the world's most powerful brand. So now it's pretty crazy to think it's the world's most powerful brand. A few other notable things in Lego's history. In 2011, the space shuttle Endeavour took 13 Lego kits into space to see how they would react in microgravity. I thought that was cool. In 2013, the largest Lego model was created in New York City. And it was a life-size X-Wing from Star Wars with over 5 million pieces. Huge Lego construction. 5 million pieces. Another world record includes a 112-foot tower and a 2.5-mile railway. So some pretty amazing things have happened with Lego over the years. Let me see if and then here's a picture of Legoland in Billund, Denmark. They have one in California and other places. This was another cool figure. It shows human population is the green line, and then the red line is minifigures that have been created. And so recently the minifigures have overtaken the number of people that there are in the world, which is pretty crazy. Think about it. So now I'm going to bring on Sam. Let's see if I can find him here. Figure this out. He was here with me. Let's see what happened. I'm going to send him a text. It may be my fault, Sam. Sorry about that. I did something wrong. There he comes. There he is. Sorry, Sam. I might have dropped you.
Yeah, I got lost, but I'm back now.
This is my friend Sam. I've known Sam for a while. We've had a lot of fun just chatting about our geeky hobbies. It's fun to have a friend that you can show them, geeky stuff when you get something cool or a new Lego. A lot of people just look at you like, well, you're an adult now. But Sam and I have a lot of fun sharing our hobbies, and I like Lego, but Sam takes it to a whole nother extreme. He had a Lego channel where he reviewed Lego sets at one point, and then he has an Instagram account where he shares his minifigures and other cool stuff he's working on. And so, Sam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. And I have to say too, there's something I always used to say on my YouTube channel where I'd said, you're never too old to play with bricks. So my age doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, so when did you first start playing with Lego, Sam?
Well, I remember my brother got some when I was younger. It was probably in the 90s, 1990. And he brought them home, and I just thought they were so cool. And I really got into them as a kid. I always wanted to get the big space shuttle or the big pirate ship. But then I grew up and stopped playing with them. But when I was in law school, it was a really stressful time, and I found had a lot of fun, and it calmed me down and calmed down my stress quite a bit when I would just build a Lego set. And so when the Ghostbusters car Lego set came out, I got that and just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And that's kind of where it took off. That one right there.
You actually gave this one to me, I think. It's the one I pulled off my shelf. I was going to show it. I forgot to show. Yeah, this is one of our favorites.
It's very cool.
So that was one of the first, and that's a cool story. I remember you telling me that now about being in school and using Lego to kind of take that time to relieve some stress.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. So what can you tell me about the quality of Lego? Like when I said that their motto is only the best is good enough, does that still hold up today, or is that something they abandoned with the wood?
It totally does. They're always making new building techniques and coming out with new sets that are just really cool. And not only that, but if you ever have an issue, you're missing a piece or something like that, they are really quick to fix the problem. So they make sure that their products are good and that everybody's pleased with them.
That's great. That's really admirable, because we have a lot of products these days where that's not necessarily the case, right?
Exactly, yeah.
They're not high quality.
They stand behind it, and they're always making new cool designs. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, maybe you'll show us one today, but they have a way that just Lego users can send in their own designs, right? And Lego will pick. Does the community pick them, and then they actually build them and sell them?
They make all sorts of different themes of Lego, and my favorite one is the Lego Ideas theme. And you can go on and submit your own set, and it then has the community, so people can vote on what sets they like. And whichever set gets 10,000 votes, Lego will then consider to make it into a set. So I have a bunch on my desk that are all from Lego Ideas.
Cool. Cool. How many minifigures do you have?
I knew he was gonna ask me this question, so I had to count them. In this room alone, put together and on display, I have over 600, about 612. Now throughout my house, I have another 125, and I have somewhere around 400 that I don't even have put together in boxes. So adding that all up, I got about 1,200 minifigures of my own. If you added my kids in there, I think we might get up to 15, 16, 1,700. But yeah.
Crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, when you visit Sam's house, there's Lego placed all throughout the house. It's really fun. I always just think your kids that'll be a great memory for them. Do you want to show us some of your favorite minifigures and show us around your office? We love to go and visit my kids. They actually call Sam Lego Man Sam, and they love to come and visit his office, look at his minifigures, kind of drool all over them. Right. Dad, why can't you be as cool as Lego Man Sam?
Well, I'll show you my desk here first. I'm going to flip the camera around. I've got quite a few there, but these are some of my favorites. I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, so I have the Ghostbusters firehouse in the car, and I've actually got light sets hooked up to those so you can see they're lit up. And I got a lot of great space ones up here: Star Wars, the Lego Space Station, Beatles, Yellow Submarine. Wally's a really cool one. And then this one's a great one too. I know Bedtime History did a story on Neil Armstrong, and that is a model of the rocket that he took to the moon, a Saturn V rocket.
Awesome.
So that's my desk over here, but you turn around and you get overwhelmed with some minifigures.
Love it.
I've got just about everything you can think of here. And that's one of the things I love about Lego is it doesn't matter what you're into, whether it's comics or movies or any sort of TV show, they have a minifigure for just about everything. So I've got all sorts of just various ones here. Got Wizard of Oz up there at the top. We've got SpongeBob, all sorts of pirates and knights. I got lots of Batman ones down here.
Cool.
And then get into some Marvel comics down here. Well, Star Wars and Marvel. Harry Potter. Yeah, I got all my Iron Man ones down here. This is one of my favorite things to collect is all the Iron Man minifigures. And if I had to pick one out in the entire room that is my favorite minifigure, it's probably this Iron Man right here, because he's just really cool.
That one is really cool. I like that one.
And I also collect stormtroopers. So I've got quite a few rows of all sorts of different types of stormtroopers from Star Wars. And what we got up here? Lego Movie, Scooby-Doo, Lone Ranger.
Ew, that's cool.
Harry Potter stuff, some Ninja Turtles, all sorts of 80s movies and stuff there.
Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. He just came out with his movie. And we got some fun monsters and stuff up here too. But I also have all the way over here some more. I've got I got some NASA ones all the way up there. That's the Women of NASA set. And then I have all sorts of Simpsons. And this is one of my favorite sections here because they make these ones, and Breck obviously likes this as well because he pointed out the Banana Man minifigure. Sorry about that. Okay, so okay. You got all sorts of costume ones here that I really like. They just have all sorts of little dragon costumes, sharks, bunny rabbits, penguins. I'm trying to get out of my light here. And then I get down to the Disney section because there's quite a few Disney minifigures there.
Yeah, those ones are cool.
And I've also got more in the corner here. This is one of the Lego Idea sets, the Lego Voltron. Then we got Statue of Liberty. This is the lunar lander for the Saturn V rocket.
That one's really cool.
And I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park, so I got this huge dinosaur and gate here as well. So that one's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But this is just what's on display. I'll give you a peek in the closet in my office here. And I've got 4 huge bins packed full. I have too many. I have to build them. I have to put them away because I just don't have the space to put all those out.
This reminds me, we need to have you on for maybe we need to do a guitar episode and you can show us how to build a guitar.
Right. Yeah. I've got lots of those too. So yeah, that's one of the
Awesome.
things that's so cool though. There's so many different types of things. I mean, in that short amount of time we saw all sorts of space sets, all sorts of movies and comics, and it's just a lot of fun. No matter what you're into, you can find something that Lego has for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really had thought about that you can be into a lot of different things and still have fun with Lego. Do you have any of your favorite your own creations? I'm trying to remember if
I mess around and build some things, but I just do it with my kids most of the time, and there's nothing I've really kept that's put together. I like building things though that are have a use.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like if you notice here, I've got a little pencil and scissors holder made out of Lego.
That's cool.
I got this here that I designed. It's a Ghostbusters phone
you build
stand.
the stands for them. That's really cool.
And that's what I do too. If you noticed when I was looking at the minifigures, I've got all sorts of little stands that I've made for them to be displayed on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look down at my guitar amplifier, I've got this little box made here for my guitar picks and my guitar capo to keep them all organized. Awesome. So when I build things myself, that's kind of what I do. And or I'll build things with my kids and they get smashed and destroyed and taken apart and who knows what else.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm impressed you're able to keep them intact in your office. My kids, as you can tell from mine, it's actually, you probably noticed right away how many pieces it was missing.
Yeah, a few things missing there.
It's fun though. They love them. I know my kids, I didn't bring it out, but there's a huge pile in the corner. The kids are playing with. I've been playing with ours, but awesome. Well, thanks, Sam. I appreciate you taking the time and showing us your office and your experience with Lego. It's a lot of fun having you on here.
For sure, it was fun. And don't forget, you're never too old to play with bricks.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam.
No problem. We'll talk to you later.
See ya. Okay, so we got to meet Sam, got to see some of his amazing Legos, his amazing set. So in most of the Bedtime History episodes, we usually tell a story, and then at the end, we talk about some of the values that we learned from the particular people that we learned about. And so some of the values that came to mind, I want to share here and get my slideshow back up. The first one was persistence. Can anyone think of a time that Ole was persistent when he kept going? That's what persistence means, is keep going even when things are tough. Right away, what I noticed is when his shop burned down. That was when his kids were younger, and he built it back up. And did it happen again? A lot of people would just say, "That's it. Like, I'm gonna build something other than a wood shop because they keep burning down." Hopefully he learned after a couple times, and maybe that's why they switched to plastic, was because he was having so many troubles with the wood. But persistence means not giving up. And obviously, sometimes there'll be something where we need to stop and move on. We can't do everything all the time perfectly, but it's a great value to have in our life, and to just keep working at something. Take a deep breath, start over and keep going. Might mean like getting upset, not being happy for a day, but then we start the new day and we go at it again, right? The other value that came to mind is quality. On their wall, they had that big sign that said, "Only the best is good enough." And so they were always focused on quality, creating quality products. And so what might that mean for you? You can think about it for a few seconds or so, and you can think about it after. It might just mean, I know the other day my son, I was doing the dishes and I went over when he was done. It took a little bit of work to get him to do that, but when he was done, I went over and it was just like spotless. He had washed everything down the sink. He had scrubbed it, and I was like so impressed. And so that was a good example of quality. He did a really quality job, and so it might mean something simple like that for you, or if you're working on something with your schoolwork, just trying to do a little better job. And that's something that it can improve each day. There's another cool story about Ole, that his son Gerhardt was working with him, and he put like less lacquer on a toy he was working on. And he said, "You know what? I saved some money. I put less lacquer. I put one coat instead of two." And his father said, "No, like go over and do that again. We're always going to have two coats of lacquer, so the toys are extra quality." And another example from the life of Ole. It also took him a lot of time to perfect that brick. I'm sure it was required a lot of persistence and a focus on quality to get it done. The other quality that came to mind is creativity. And creativity, often we just think of that as being like art, if you're artistic, but it doesn't mean just being artistic. You can be creative in a lot of different ways. One example I like to say is my wife. She wouldn't normally think of herself as creative, but she's actually really good at organizing stuff. And so she's a very creative organizer. And so don't, just because if you're not artistic or something, don't think that you're not creative. You need to find out ways that you're creative, that are unique, that are ways that you're creative on your own, that are unique to you. And we talked about how Lego, so the cool thing about it is it can let you be creative. So you think of a lot of toys. This is a Spider-Man here. He's fun to play with, and it's cool. You can do cool things with him. But the reason why Lego is extra cool is it's the system where you can use the different pieces to build new things. And so it's a way to demonstrate your creativity. If you've ever used Connects, that's another toy that you can use to create things, or it can even be like arts and crafts. My kids like to use popsicle sticks or cardboard. Our whole backyard, our back porch right now is like all of their cardboard things they've constructed with cardboard and hot glue. And so you can use these different tools to express your creativity. And also Lego has these amazing creative people that work for them to design all the different sets that you've seen. And so those are the different values today: persistence, quality, and creativity. And so you can spend some time thinking about how those might apply to yourself and how you can improve in those different skills. And so I'm going to give you a challenge this week to pick something that interests you, and something you can do with your family while you're all at home is pick something or someone. Maybe it's an invention or a person. You pick a person, maybe that's the best thing to do, that might be interesting to you. An invention is probably a good idea too, something that you see around you, and spend a day researching that thing, maybe that invention. And you can research online, you can watch videos, find pictures, learn everything you can about that topic. That's what I did when I created this episode, is I didn't know a lot about the history of Lego. I had to read and watch some videos and learn about it. So after you spend a day or two, you can even spend a few days learning about this topic, then you can create a story. Maybe it's a slideshow using your computer or a video, and then present it to your family. And if everyone in your family does that, then you can all learn a lot together. And so that's my challenge for you this week, is to do that with your family. And if you want, you can share it on our Facebook page. I could create an entry on there, and then we can post some pictures if you'd like to share them that way. And so thanks for joining us today. I'm going to end the slideshow here. If you are new to Bedtime History, definitely check out our podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app. We also have a YouTube channel that you're on right now, and we have lots of videos that you can watch that go along with our bedtime episodes. And I want to thank Sam for being with us today too. I really appreciate his help. And you can let your friends know about the podcast, about our video. And I hope everyone stays safe this week, and try to be extra patient with your parents as they're trying to work through this too. and with your siblings, because we're all home trying to learn together. And I'd like to do more of these. Let me know if you enjoyed it and you'd like me to do more. You can post that on our Facebook page or send us a message. And thanks for being here today and joining me, and hope you have a great week. See you later.